Yes. So our step 25 to 28, the master says, remove obstacles in meditation by tapa. So tap, literal meaning of the tap is austerity, penance. It is a matter of choice. I make a choice. So when I make a choice, in the state of happiness, in the state of calmness, in the state of tranquility. Why I make a choice? Because I want to withdraw the sense organs, motor organs, and the mind within to succeed in meditation. I tell you a brief, we are basically, I would say my family was basically, I should use the word landlord. We had lot of agricultural land bordering Nepal, in the state of Bihar where Buddha was born. So we had the laborers. So I was hardly 10, 15 years old and I witnessed that, and I still keep that in memory. I'm talking about in relation to the food. So I do not know the English name of that. It looks like a sesame seed. So we farmers used to grow that, which is a grain. A grain like rice or like wheat. But it looks like a sesame seed, and then you crush into a powder and you make the bread. So those laborers who are working on our field were given only one bread of that seed, which is very thick, maybe 1 or 2 inches of thick. It's like big, large pizza. On the top of it, there is only a salt and a sesame seed oil and couple of chilies, green chilies. And I saw them, their body is so strong. They have never cared, what is a balanced diet, amount of carbs and protein and, the other minerals and the stuff. And one of the laborers is 103 years old, he is still alive. I'm just talking in terms of the food. So when the mind is clear, they were not exposed to television, soap operas, smartphone, even now. So that 103 years old guy looks almost around 60s and 70s. So the food, intake of food has to do with the mind also. It is the mind that causes the pleasure in a particular food, or it is the mind that can withdraw from it. So the until last week, we have covered the 3 points of the food. Treating the hunger as a disease, by the food as a medicine. And because the agricultural, or whatever we eat, comes from the existence. No, we didn't create paddy, we didn't create wheat, we didn't create these vegetables. They come from the existence. So how to relate ourselves to the existence is the second step, a constant reminder. And the third is how to drop craving for the food. It may look uncommon to your mind, what it takes. If whatever the food I like, I should take it. It should not create a craving for the food, because the mind with that sense organ of the taste and the motor organ will keep your mind running outside. And that will be a great obstacle in the meditation. So now we are coming to the step 28, contentment. So niyama by Ashtanga Yoga of the Patanjali also has a contentment. Now what is this contentment at all? So greatest tapa is accepting the world as it is. Understand, younger, especially young people, Sam and the Jonathan, greatest tapa is accepting the world as it is and accepting what I am, what I have and possess in the present moment. The acceptance is a state of mind with detachment and dispassion. Now what happens to our mind? The world acceptance does not include fate or destiny. Remember this. This is very important. Otherwise, people have a wrong perception and wrong understanding of this step content. Destiny means accepting with the mind that is lazy, crazy, and obsessed. Fate accepts the blessing of the existence if our desires are fulfilled, and curse if the wishes are not fulfilled. That has nothing to do with the contentment. So, now go a little deeper. The contentment in Eastern wisdom in Sanskrit is known as santosha. Do you remember I talked about monk sannyasa? It is made up of the prefix sam, all round, nyasa, purification. That is the real meaning of being a monk. Not that you have lot of .com on the forehead, wear the orange colored clothes, and nobody blesses you, but you keep blessing everyone without anything. That has nothing to do with the monkhood. Even being a householder, I can be a monk. Sannyasa. So the same prefix is added. Samtosha. Samtosha. Now you will understand my secrets of giving you meditation. So sam means all around, entirely, and tosha means an acceptance. Acceptance means being comfortable, being carefree, and being casual all the time. You have been attending my sessions. So in the very first stage, I give the 3 steps to help your mind to go and discover that state of the mind which is comfortable, which is carefree, and which is totally casual. You see that? Samtosha. So samtosha means accepting entirely everything that comes. But it does not mean that I should not work. I should work smartly. I should keep working on the mind. I should keep working for my livelihood. It does not mean, that is all. Then I will not work. Let the food come to my mouth. It never happens. That is not contentment. Contentment is doing one's duty the best possible way, focusing on the job that you are doing, rejecting the ego and the fruits of an action. That also becomes a part of the contentment. The mind remains in the state of tranquility with the result of an action in daily life. It is another form of contentment where the seeker constantly works on the mind. During the practice of meditation, I had a wonderful pizza yesterday. So that will cause the trouble. You see that? I had that taste of the food. So there is still another form of contentment where the seeker expresses tranquility in thought, speech, and action. It is not that I have understood contentment and tomorrow when I wake up in the morning, then I will practice no contentment even in the sleep. The seeker in the state of contentment refuses to be miserable and avoid causing any misery to others. Refuses to be miserable and causing any misery to the others. So that contentment is applied in eating, walking, sleeping, talking, studying, physical exercise. Great Master Shankaracharya says that contentment is the inner state of the mind that neither distress nor elate the seeker, neither attached nor detached, and enjoys the continuity of happiness. Now see, there is another. Do you know the oldest text of yoga? Laura? Oldest text of yoga is Yog Vasishtha. Vasishtha is the name of the greatest master. Oldest text. Almost it is 5,000 years old. Vasishtha was a great master. So by his name, like Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you have a Yog Vasishtha. It has only 40,000 verses. It is one of the very large texts. So that text is, there are 4 gateways to the freedom from the mind, freedom from the stress, freedom from the suffering. 4 gateways. First he says, Shanti, peace, inner peace. Second he says, self-inquiry, understanding and knowing and discovering who am I. Third is contentment. Fourth is satsang. So out of the 4 gateways, this master says the oldest text. It says the contentment is one of the 4 gateways to the freedom from the stress and the suffering, from the anxiety, from the duality, from the... So contentment should not be taken as an excuse, oh, whatever comes to me I have to accept. No, I have to work hard, constantly. We have to cultivate that state of the mind. The seeker, as a seeker, we live consciously. So what is the way? How to do that? So if you have understood the path of the Shreyas, I have used many a times. So there are only 2 paths in the life, the path of the Shreyas and the path of the Preyas. What is Shreyas? What is right and good? What is right and good? That is all pervading, that is infinite, that is permanent peace, that is happiness, that is truth. It means that my mind should constantly live in Shreyas, even at this moment. Shreyas is not a philosophy. I have to live into this. What is right and good at this moment? You are playing a role of a student. What the student should do? A total focus. Total focus on what is being taught. What is the role of a teacher? Total focus on teaching. Path of the Shreyas, that is right and good. Prayers means what I like I will do, and what is pleasant to me that I will do. So we can do the practice of contentment 24 hours, 24/7 when I am living with my honey, living with my children, living with my friends, living with my employees, talking to the employees, calling, talking on the phone. Living in that state of the Shreyas in the mind will help you to reach to the state of contentment. Contentment is the greatest austerity. Every master says. You are not enforcing on the mind. It is a matter of choice. It is a matter of choice. I enjoy, and also I would say that I enjoy, but I feel pity when I see many of our yoga teachers are sitting on the back of their students to helping them to practice a particular asana. You see that is not tapa. You are sitting on the back. You are enforcing the student and you enjoy. You are building an ego. See that. I can give you a lot of examples when I witness in these things. So that is not the way of contentment. As a seeker, you refuse to be miserable. First thing. And you don't make others miserable. By your thought, by your speech, by your action. I'm covering these steps briefly. I still remember there is great master Aurobindo, and I want to link it to the guiding principles of our constitution. And one of the guiding principle is pursuit of happiness. Do you know? Let us relate this to the state of contentment. So, you see, the Sri Aurobindo says there is a sattvic contentment, there is a tamasic contentment, there is a rajasic contentment. For those who have not attended the previous sessions, these are three qualities of a mind by which it works. Sometimes when the mind is constantly running, it is rajasic. When the mind becomes lethargic and inertia, that is tamasic. And the mind is full of knowledge and the happiness, that is the sattvic. The tamasic mind. What is the contentment for the tamasic mind? The dad says, "Get up, my son." "No, I want to sleep, What happened? Laziness, letharginess, sleepiness, hangover. Because I enjoy. I want to sleep more. That is tamasic contentment. I have a sense of delusion that this is what I want in my life. Just sleeping as long as possible. Remain inert. Not being active. That is tamasic contentment. And you see majority of the conflict arise between the younger generation, between the two generations. The tamasic contentment. Do you see that? Then comes the rajasic contentment. The rajasic man, rajasic mind always keeps running, intoxicating, keen, always active. I have a friend, you perhaps know, I'm always busy, I'm so busy. I'm very busy. And then she writes to me, "I got frustrated, I have been busy, I tried hard to change others, and I have been telling her, why don't you change yourself? Why don't you join this Mondays and Thursdays program?" No way. But still she is running. So when the mind is running and finding the joy and the contentment, that will cause what happens? Reaction, fatigue, revolt, disgust. So what we are talking is of sattvic contentment. That sattvic contentment comes from the deeper layer of the mind. It is a glimpse of our real nature. When you have a perfect state of contentment, just see that it is a glimpse of your real self. You have found it. A state of fullness, an abiding ease and peace. Being totally carefree and comfortable at every moment in your life. Whether you are driving or eating or teaching or talking. That kind of a contentment is required in the journey to remove lot of obstacles. So let us start our journey. We have covered Dapa. We'll cover Titiksha in the next week. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Body is, you're looking at the body that is comfortable, and you're looking inside. So before you're looking inside the head, can you ask yourself, your mind, what is Shreyas and what is Preyas? That is another way to start with any meditation. What is Shreyas? What is right and good? So you think yourself, what is right and good? What is always right and good is all-pervading. It is beyond time and the space. It is pure consciousness. It is my real self. When you think like this, reflect on this principle of the Shreyas, the mind naturally moves within. When the mind naturally moves within, you find an infinite space. And in that space, become aware of any point in the space. And ask yourself, is it not calmness? We just covered sattvic contentment. The contentment that comes with the knowledge and clarity. That is our first step in the first stage. See that? And then, so now, in today's meditation, remind yourself, recall that point of calmness which is present, which is not created or produced. Then, being comfortable. Now remember, you see that how many principles can be understood by these steps. So every time now when I say being comfortable, being carefree and being casual, remember contentment. Being comfortable, you look at the neck joint as it is, feel the presence and experience sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. Beautiful. I appreciate you all. That's the way. Move the mind on the shoulder joints. Just be there, feeling. You see, you get an idea of the contentment that I need not to do anything. First. Second is, it has to be done in the field of awareness. Third, the accepting the thing as it is. Shoulder joints, accepting, being aware, feeling, and experience sensation, being comfortable, and steadiness. That is the way. The more deeply and keenly you do it, the rest of the steps becomes a play and a fun. Being carefree. That is also means accepting the world as it is. The mind has crazy thoughts, thank you. Why? You are separate from the thoughts. Thought, feeling, sensation. Any experience enters into the mind. You are none of them. You see, I gave you many similes. You are standing across the road watching the traffic. Mental traffic, thoughts. You step back and stand across. The birds flying, thoughts in the mind, in the sky. The sky is, you step back. Waves, turbulence in the surface of an ocean and deep inside. You see many similes. Through the similes we can understand, and we can just be aware. It's not a practice. So what is going to happen? The body only moves because of the thought in the mind. The mind prompts the body to act. And if the mind is separate from all the thoughts, feeling and experiences, what is going to happen? It becomes the tapa, austerity by choice, conscious choice. This is what Sri Aurobindo is talking about, that I discussed, the sattvic contentment. And being casual, you already experienced the state of contentment, tranquility. I promise you, if you live into even these 4 steps regularly for a longer period, everything will happen. But we continue the journey in the stage 2, looking at, where are you looking? We are looking at inside the head in the space at a point that is the calmness, point of calmness. And then becoming aware of the belly and start breathing from the belly, quick, short and gentle, out of contentment. Just you are playing in play and fun. Continue. Contentment. Don't leave working on the mind. Continue. Mind will react in revolt. No worries. And stop it. Recheck. Am I comfortable? Yes. Am I carefree? Yes. Am I casual? Contentment not as an idea, as a thought, but as a conscious experience. Now start breathing deep, silent and slow. First into the belly, then into the rib cage, up to the throat, inhalation. And during exhalation, you are breathing out from the belly, then the ribs. Check. the uniformity of the breath, of equal duration of the inhalation and exhalation. And also check the mind is minimizing the very effort. It is not an effortful, more or less it is effortless. Inhalation and exhalation. In that inhalation and exhalation, the inhalation should remain same, deep, silent, and slow. Lips remain together, looking deep inside the forehead. I discussed. You start the humming sound that should create vibrations deep inside the forehead, all around the forehead. So every time your inhalation is deep, you are not in a hurry, because if you are in a hurry, you breathe, you are inhaling with a noise. Oh, Rajasic mind has returned. Don't allow the Rajasic mind to return. Inhalation is deep, silent, and slow. Exhalation is long, deep, louder, humming. Continue, my friends. It's a wonderful session going on. Your mind is following these steps. Now leave the humming, but continue with the deep, silent and slow breath. But this time the mind is moving inside the spine from the crown of the head to the tailbone when you inhale, deep, silent and slow. When you exhale, the mind moves from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And now again another way to do the penance. It's a very silent. When the breath starts going inside and the mind starts dropping from the crown of the head, you see the space, then drop Om Shanti mentally. Again you see the space, Om Shanti, space, Om Shanti, space, Om Shanti, space, Om Shanti. 5 times. And 5 times during exhalation with space. 5 times Om Shanti. Why we are doing it? We're helping the mind to live within, with reference to the inner space. Why? To go beyond the mind. You're dropping Om Shanti with a care, with awareness. Om Shanti. And then you see the space. Om Shanti. So that space is veiled by Om Shanti. The space always exists. There is a continuity. So we are confirming to the mind to follow the path of the Shreyas. What is Shreyas? Right and good. What is right and good? All-pervading. Continuity of the existence. Here we see that reference with space. Simple understanding, clarity. When there is a clarity, the intellect continues to inspire the mind to be into the state. The knowledge should not sleep. Sleeping of the knowledge, doubt. Doubt, you give a space to the mind for delusion. Delusion, opposite of meditation. See that. Pursuit of happiness. So obviously, majority of people understand it should come from outside. But I like this guiding principle, the pursuit of happiness, and I want to add within. Happiness is within me. And when there is a sattvic happiness, it is contentment. This is what we discussed. And now continue, you leave the mantra. In the stage 3 we are doing the nyasa with the same deep silent breath, which is our car. You move the mind as you inhale inside the right arm, in the space inside. When the breath returns, the mind moves from the fingertips to the shoulder in the space. Understand it clearly. The moving breath is your car. Mind is the driver. Where it is driving? In the space inside the right arm. And when you see the space only, infinite space, the mind is living within. You will experience as if you have transcended the body. The outer shape of the right arm melted, as if there is only the space. That is what happens. But that experience takes you deeper. Now inside the left arm, in the same way. Breath, driver. Breath, car. Mind, driver. Highway, space within. This highway never ends. So once the mind naturally moves on that highway, it will discover our true nature. Beautiful. Just live into. Yeah, maybe thought may come, but you are driving in the space inside. Some other car means other thought may be there. Now inside the right leg. Let it be. Are you concerned about the neighbor when you enter into your house? You're living in your house. That's all. And now inside the left leg. Now inside the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Without the mantra, you see in the previous step, we did it with the mantra. Now we are doing without the mantra to see if the mind lives within almost in silence. And stop this. Moving in the stage 4. Looking inside the head at the point of the calmness. Any thought comes, you drop Om Shanti. Om Shanti. No thought comes, remain in that state of silence, in the tranquility. Why? The mind will go deep within. You're doing nothing as if. I told you again, the step is a fun and play. I come to your house and you don't know me. You say, who are you? I say, Om Shanti. What do you do? Om Shanti. Why you have come Om? For every question, my only answer is Om Shanti. For every thought enters into the mind, your answer is Om Shanti. Do you see the point of contentment there? Neither attached nor detached. No distress. No elation. Thoughts as if thoughts are strangers. And if there is no thought, live into that state of tranquility and silence. The power of contentment does it. And leave the step, moving to the stage 5, casually walking easily inside the crown of the head and finding the infinite space and dropping. Being there as if Om merges into the space, then going inside the forehead, in the space, saying Om, the Om merges in the space, then inside the heart, in the space, Om, casually, and seeing clearly the Om merging into the space, then inside the belly button, from the belly button again, return inside the heart, and then the head, the top of the head. And once you find that a mind wants to just stop, do nothing, well, just stop. Even a slight disturbance, continue on. And even leave the step looking at the breath in non-verbal Om on the breath in and non-verbal Om on the breath coming out. What is the meaning? You simply remember. Thought of Om is not there. Why? So the mind remains within. A very little change I made in this last step. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind to the right hand, your mind to the left hand. Become aware of both the hands and see, is the mind ready to lift? Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside, know your experiences, and bring the hands down to share your experiences. Follows any question you have. How are you, Jonathan?
Hey, I'm good. It was a really good meditation this morning. I felt very tuned into my breath more than anything else, and I think that I don't know. I more went back to my breath throughout every step than I did sort of the other tools, as in terms of dropping Om or
that's good.
Anything else. It was easier for me to just return to my breath for whatever reason today. I just felt very tuned in there. So
good. Yeah, you can tune to any step.
Yeah.
Every step leads you to the same state. I will not disturb Samuel at this moment. He is totally absorbed. So, how are you, Stephen? How are you,
really...
Yes, continue, Stephen, yeah.
I'm really good. The whole the lesson of contentment has really resonated with me. during the lesson and throughout my meditation.
Beautiful.
It was just it was just quiet. It was peaceful. It was tranquil. Nothing went on. I was focused the entire time. Every time I had a moment that I was going to stray, the word and feeling of contentment came in. And when you started the chant of Om Shanti, I felt really happy.
Very good. That's being a seeker. That's a very good statement that you said that the understanding of the contentment resonated. So even when it resonates, you start living your life free from the anxiety, duality, and a conflict. Think of this. Problems are there in the world. Problems will remain there in the world. You cannot get rid of the problem. But I have to change the very mind. Beautiful. How are you, Samuel?
Hello.
Good.
So, I've found it interesting. When I think of contentment, I also think of perspective. So I've had some health concerns over the last few years, as the people that I know on this call are aware of. And I read something recently about the pursuit of happiness and how it's obviously impossible because you can't have happiness without knowing what sadness is. So something really bad happens, you just build a different baseline for what happiness is. I think applying it to what's been going on outside in my life, I think the difficulty that I've been having, as I'm sure a lot of people have, is that when I know that things are in my control and I can do something about it, it's easy, but when it's in someone else's hands, it makes things very difficult. And I think those are the things that challenge me the most, is when other people, something's up to someone else, and I think there's something I can be doing or should have done. So that's what I've been thinking
But
about.
the contentment is totally different, away from making some event makes you happy, other event makes you miserable in the world outside, but you leave both of them and you keep the mind in the state of tranquility within, not to be affected. That is, yes, I know that the way you have been explaining is beautiful. Now look into the state of contentment. Listen to today's lesson again and again and see. And get out of it. You were totally absorbed. Yeah, that's beautiful. So, how are you, Lara?
I am good. I love this. The contentment principle, I think, is like kind of the key to everything for me.
Yes.
Because we cannot control everything, but can we find the peace within the chaos or whatever else is going on? So I really liked it. And as soon as we closed our eyes, I went really deep. And then to the point where I was like, I can't sit here anymore. I have to lay down.
Good.
And so I rolled over and I laid down. And it was a really deep experience today. So
beautiful. Being a seeker. You see that all our masters, everything coming from outside. I always refer those teachers from the Yoga Vasishtha, from what the Sri Aurobindo says. There must be a total clarity and a conviction in my intellect. That will keep the mind away from anxiety, duality, being miserable, and unhappiness, as the Sam was explaining. Beautiful. I am very happy that it went inside you. How are you, Sergey?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
it was the most difficult meditation I ever had, because I'm actually 5 minutes before start, I found some place in the park after my previous meeting, and all the time somebody's walking around,
Yes.
or smoking weeds, or doing something, or trying transportation just next to me, or it's wind, or it's sun, or like I'm struggling, and at the very end, like, you have wherever you like, all what you have now, that's what you need.
Yes.
For some reason, you need that around you. All that sun and wind and something, just, you should be able to live with it. You should be able to deal with it.
Yes.
And like, I'm just keep going. I'm like, okay, start breathing. Om here, om here, om, and it was the longest meditation I ever had. I'm just like struggling till the very end.
You see, that is what we have been discussing about tapa, the austerity and the penance. Nothing in the world should influence me. So that comes first with the clarity and understanding. That even if the person moving around you when you are meditating and he is smoking weed, that is what you said? Oh, so you had the smell of the weed. You should have been absorbed into deep meditation. Rather than because people consider weed takes you to... Yes. So there are subtle, the mind which is attached to the outer conditions unconsciously, that causes this trouble. So by regular practice, we can get out of this attachment to the things outside. Then even if the person is doing any damn thing around you, you always live into that state of meditation. But that's a good step. Sometimes you should challenge your mind. You do the practice outside, but not every day so that you get frustrated. So that too is good. How are you, David and Jerry?
The student's point about contentment, it was a very intentful practice for me. A couple of things I went very, very deep and very. At one point, though, I had to kind of like open my eye a little bit because it was quiet for a long period of time.
Okay.
Our internet had gone off or something, but maybe we went back into it. But for me, it was temperature. My body was very cold, and I saw a lot of things go what I hadn't seen in a long time. But very good.
Beautiful. That's, we have to check ourselves. Am I a seeker? Then no problem comes on the way. And that's a beautiful... How are you, Jerry?
I'm good. It was, from the moment I closed my eyes, it was very quiet and peaceful. I had a lot of color for this meditation.
Good.
The ocean trees, some blue and green and white. And this was the most difficult meditation for me to come out of. I was completely
absorbed inside. That is a success in meditation. You all are becoming a seeker. You see that? Just try, do this practice of meditation this week for a couple of days, but also just listen to your mind, what I said about being comfortable, being carefree, being casual, and live into that state. Extend that period, and you will see that a state of contentment enters into your life. Simple. So when there is how are you, Terry?
I also had a very difficult time. I have to say, I especially when we it was okay up until we started the breathing.
Yeah.
But then it just like, I just couldn't, the more I would follow the meditation guidance, the worse the thing that's fighting me would be. It's like something is fighting me, and I had to sort of like just tone it down and not do it really. Like I couldn't.
Yeah.
When we did the starting at the crown of the head, I just had to kind of go. I had to kind of like go up there because it's always right here. So I realized that's not the crown of the head.
Yeah.
I said, okay, let me go up there. And then I was like going every inch, I had to do it, not like just here.
Yeah.
And I felt like, well, this is certainly not,
You see what Jerry was saying, that it was difficult for her to come out of the meditation.
Yes.
And yes, so if that is the state, definitely it is a great success. But when it is difficult to follow the step, you see that, did I talk about the sins and the virtues? It is the past impressions that is not known, but it triggers the mind, causes reaction. So we need not to worry. The only thing, continue. Regular practice with the wisdom will help us to succeed. How are you, Samir?
Sir, nowadays mind doesn't disturb me much during meditation. There
Good.
are not much thoughts. It's total darkness, and
Yeah.
just means I enjoy a lot during meditation.
Very
After
good.
that, there are thoughts. When there is daytime, there are a lot of thoughts. But during the meditation, it is very peaceful.
Very
Means I
good.
just want to remain in meditation whole day, but I think it is how it is possible. You can
Yes.
explain this.
Do you remain also, what did you say that your mind, what did you say in the beginning? Mind was?
Mind doesn't disturb me.
Mind
during
doesn't
meditation.
disturb you. Does the mind disturb you when you are with your honey? I can crack a joke with Indian
Yes,
guys.
sir. Sometimes it disturbs me when there is little bit argument with her. Any kind of difference of opinion is there. So there is always mind disturbs you.
So you have to be in that state when the mind doesn't disturb you, even with your honey.
Yes, sir.
I can make a joke with Indians. I'm little careful with the people here. So, any question? Tell me. Any question?
I have one.
Yes.
How is it possible to use negative emotions like anger or fear to evolve? Could we use negative emotions to evolve?
Yes and no. The moment the anger comes, you become aware, you feel how negative impact it has done, and then you counter it by pacifying it. It will help you to evolve. But if you rationalize that your anger is right, you have a right to be angry, then it pulls you down. How simple it is. Do you understand that? Any negative emotion is an opportunity for us to evolve. How? By turning that negative emotion into positive. But how? By consciously knowing the impact, understanding it, and replacing it with the positive. That is, until this point, we understand from the modern psychology also, and Eastern wisdom also. What we say, what our master says, you move from the negative to the positive, and then you go beyond the positive. Why? So negative and positive lives in the mind, and meditation is beyond the mind to discover the permanent state of the happiness of the consciousness, not of the mind. Did you get it? It is not of the mind what we are talking. Even we use the mind, we use the intellect, but we want to transcend the mind to enter into the permanent state of the peace and happiness. Now the last point. Last point is very funny. What is that funny? Is that now you live into that state of permanent happiness, and there is a need for the anger because sometimes the people don't listen you. So you play being angry. You don't become angry. Now you use the anger as a way to solve some problem, but you are not angry. Not angry. But the challenge is that the other people should not know it. Now my daughter and my son knows it. Even if I shout at them, they know it. Oh, Dad, calm down. So that is also there. So the four stages. Lower to the higher. What is lower? Negative emotion. Move to the higher. That is what Lara says, our master says. So move from the lower to the higher. So higher is the positive emotion. Now you transcend both of them and discover the permanent peace and happiness within. Now you live into that. So the entire life in the world outside, just you play your role and fun whenever, whatever is required. Are you getting it? Yes.
Can I add something to that?
Yes, you can add. Yes.
So I think one of the things, because I've had to play with this a lot for myself,